So here we are, round 2 of the video. Again, I'm using Screencast-O-Matic. I tried to use Tegrity and downloaded YouTube this morning. It didn't work. Jing is only 5-minute videos, so I needed to search quickly to find a Screencastify or screen sharing recording software that I could use that would give me a good amount of time to share information. And really, technology takes time, and I enjoy digging in, giving it a try, making mistakes. So that's something that I would encourage you to do as well. The benefits are amazing, and when we can model for our students how to make mistakes and how, when things don't go the way they should, we roll with it, because that is a lifelong skill that will benefit them greatly. So let's get back to Seesaw. Seesaw is an app similar to Picture, if you know anything about Facebook or Instagram, where you can post pictures and videos. Lots of different people can post, and then you can like, you can share, you can comment. Those are all things that happen in Seesaw as well. The only difference is that it's a very secure platform that only parents and students and you yourself as a teacher can access. So it's a really safe place to share students' work. So I have a document here that I found. As I said, I try to take all of the time away, try to eliminate the time it takes teachers to search for these things. And I found a website here called 100 Ways to Use Seesaw in Your Classroom. And it's just a Google Doc that somebody created. But these are just different ways that you can use Seesaw in your classroom. For example, to model an activity, to give a book talk, to empower students to manage workflow independently. So this works really well in those lower elementary classes as well as those middle elementary classes. I'm going to show you some alternatives to Seesaw. So if you think, oh, Seesaw is only for those primary teachers, think again. Students can use it to communicate with parents, and teachers use it to communicate with parents in lots of different ways. And I think the older the student is, the more creative they can be with how to share those things using Seesaw. So basically, I'm going to pull up my Seesaw account that I just used this year. And it's funny because Donnelly, I have to give you a little bit of honesty here. Donnelly's like, oh, would you like to present at teacher time? I'm like, I would love to. And she said, well, what topic? And I said, anything technology. And she said, how about Seesaw? And I thought, I've heard great things about Seesaw. I've seen teachers use it, but I've never used it myself. So later in this semester, I told my college students, I said, I need you to help me learn how to use Seesaw. And I think that's something that you could do with your students, your elementary and high school students. Help me learn how to use this. Let's try it together. And it's important to model how to take risks in your classroom. So what I did was it seriously took me about 10 minutes to set up the entire course. That's from never having opened it to having students complete an activity within it. It took about 10 minutes. So the first thing that I did was create folders for each of my students so that when they share something, Matthew's parents or Leah's parents could see specific things just to Matthew or Leah, or if you select all of them, or if you make it visible to all parents, then all parents can see it. So like I said, again, it can be videos, it can be pictures. We did a little bit of troubleshooting, so why was our picture sideways? But they had different words, so I had an activity that they had to come up with 6 words to summarize what happened that day. So it was super easy to set up, and I know Mrs. Strand, who's going to be speaking to you in just a moment here, has lots of reasons why she uses Seesaw, and her and I were supposed to present this together, but flexibility is the name of the game in education. So I'm going to let Mrs. Strand, Rachel Strand, talk about why she loves Seesaw. So I'm going to let Donnelly pause the video here and let Rachel talk a little bit about why she loves Seesaw so much. So hopefully you have a few different reasons why you want to try Seesaw and how to set up an account. And Rachel got me hooked on it. She was the one who talked about it at an ed camp, and I thought I need to dig in and learn a little bit more about this. So she is definitely more of an expert than I am, and I've actually seen it from her side of things, because one of her students' mother is a person that I work with. So I work with one of her students' moms, and I get to see all of the things. She's like, look at what Mrs. Strand posted. So to see it from a parent's perspective, to see it from a teacher's perspective, and to see it from a teacher-educator's perspective, there is no reason not to use Seesaw. There was a teacher from Minnesota that I visited with at Ed Camp as well. She uses Seesaw for 95% of her communication with parents. That alone saves her time and energy, and it's very efficient as well. So, I briefly shared with you those 4 tech tools that I really enjoy using and that I've tried and that I've experimented with. And like I said, they're pretty easy to use. Excuse me. They've saved me a lot of time. My students seem to find them engaging. And when it comes to tech tools, there's not just 4 tech tools you should use to communicate with parents. There's a lot of tech tools out there. I shared with you my 4 favorites, but when I was looking for things to save you some time and give you some other ideas, if those 4 don't really tickle your fancy, I've come up with a couple other ones, because I think when it comes to your tech toolbox, more is more. So if you have a lot of different tools that you try, I think that's important to try a lot of tools and then get really good at a few of them. So it's important to dig in during teacher time, try lots of different ways to communicate with parents, and then find one that works really well for you and for your students, because they're going to work differently in your classroom. So I recommend that you just jump in and try it. So here are a few that I came across. There's one called TeacherKit, and you can do lots of things within TeacherKit. I would say it's a lot like Seesaw, where you can set up student profiles and you can email parents directly. You can take attendance also and track grades and behaviors. So if you have heard of Class Dojo, it's a lot like that as well. You take a peek at that. There's Homeroom, which is also a version of Seesaw, used probably at the upper elementary, middle school, maybe even high school level, where you share pictures of what's happening in your classroom. It gives the parents a seat into your classroom so they can see exactly what's happening and what their students are learning, what their children are learning in your classroom. I think if you have not tried Google for Education, you need to dig in and try it. It is such an amazing way to have everything in one place. Lots of tools, lots of add-ons in Google Classroom that help you be more efficient in your grading practices. I know I visited with an English teacher who uses Google Classroom for everything, and she has it set up different add-ons that she got from Alice Keeler. I actually borrowed that from her. So if you have not checked out alicekeeler.com, you need to. Amazing with Google Classroom. Anything that you need to know, she's got it there for you. But I learned from her, from this other English teacher, all the important things that she does that saves her time, all of these add-ons, and really she's just a person who tries technology and to see if it works. And I know it takes time up front, but it saves you time in the long run. So there's G Suite. There's also Google Classroom, which is a learning management system similar to Moodle or Blackboard or Schoology or Edmodo, which I'll talk about in a second. Having Chromebooks, how to use Chromebooks, ways to use Chromebooks for learning and teaching in your classroom is also on this website. And Google Expedition, which is where you, kind of like Google Cardboard, but you can take your students to different places without leaving your classroom. So check out the G Suite for Education. Lots of different Google platforms there that really give the world at your fingertips, and being able to share information with students and with their parents as well. And Edmodo is another one very similar to Facebook, where you can see posts, you can like posts, you can share things, students can write, you can write things. It's been one of the first ones that came out. Edmodo is one of the first sites that was created for teachers to share photos and videos and commentary with parents, and it continues to be one of the favorites out there. The last thing that I wanted to say as far as tech tools is concerned is to try a blog. So we talked about Weebly. Weebly could be used to create a blog, but there's lots of different blogs that you can create. If you just Google create a teacher blog, there are WordPress, Blogger, Blogspot, all these free blogs that you can use to talk about your kids and to talk about your classroom. So not only is it important to share that information with parents as you're creating a blog, but it's also very important to follow blogs. If you don't follow blogs, you certainly should take time to do that. I know I get a lot of great ideas from different teacher blogs, and what I came across here was 15 teacher blogs, education blogs that every teacher should know about. So it just has them all in one place. You can check those out. I think it's just a meaningful way to share information. And I think when teachers share information about what's happening in their classroom, students are benefiting, right? So be sure to check out blogs, follow them. Feel free to create your own to share information with parents as well. So I've got a little clip from, a little quote from Dr. Seuss here. He says, "If you never did, you should. These things are fun, and fun is good." And I just encourage you to jump in, try technology. It takes time. It's okay to make mistakes. It will make your life more efficient in the long run. If you're a little scared, that's okay. Jump in, ask questions. If you're really excited about it, help those that aren't as excited about it. I think bottom line is it's good for kids and it's good for learning, and we know that it's important to engage those students and to engage their parents to help them be successful in school. Those parents are children's number one teacher. They know their child very well, and it's important to include them as partners in this educational journey that we're on. The last thing that I know I wanted to make time for, and I know Donnelly is going to give you more time over these next couple days to explore, but I really just want you to explore these tech tools. I've shared this link with Donnelly. I'm sure she'll give you something where you can access it and dig in. If you have any questions, please let me know. My contact information is there, brittany.hagen.2@maplestate.edu, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. I'd be happy to hear about all of the great things that you're doing in your classroom. I teach an ed tech class, so if you're doing anything really cool, I'd love to let my students hear about it and see it. So please reach out to me if you have any questions about what I presented here as far as communicating with parents. And if you have anything that you'd love to share with me, I am a lifelong learner, and I'm always excited to learn something new. Thanks everybody for your flexibility. Have a great day and happy learning.